Okay, so I promised you guys on the webinar tonight that, or at our team meeting tonight, that I would send you a little video about Aweber. I'm only sending about Aweber because that's what I use, but you can use the MailChimp, you can use the Constant Contact, all those different sites out there that have the same stuff, which is um, broadcasting. We got the opt-in boxes to put on your sites to drive traffic into your email marketing system. You can create newsletters, all kinds of stuff. So this is just going to be like a really brief view. And in fact, I'm just going in here in order to create a list and generate a box for Cheryl, actually. So we had decided on that, just to get something on her site really quick. So anyhow, so let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to, this is just the front page. I'm just going to log into my account, and we'll get going. And I'll just kind of show you around in here. This is the home page. This is like all of the lists that I have going on. And I know it looks like a lot, but it just means that that's how many of those little boxes I have floating around out there, because I want to designate and have, each one of those is a list creator. So if there's something out on, oh, and maybe I'll show you a couple of those actually before we go, depending on how long this video ends up being. But so anyhow, wherever the box is, we saw in the webinar tonight, about adding that box into places. So what I do is I create a name for the box depending on where it is, so that I remember in my mind where the box resides and what the purpose of it is. And then I create a list out of that so that I know what to do with those people after they come into the box. Because I don't want, let's say, somebody that's on my Cindy Zeiss page to go to the fitness tab to where they're wanting to work out and get the free workout, and I don't know who they are, have them confused with just a general list where I would use for everybody, and then start, offering them coaching opportunities or something like that. So we really want to, this helps you stay kind of organized with your marketing stuff. It seems at first glance confusing with all the green bars and all that stuff going on. Just disregard all that for right now. You can get into all that later. This is the drop down, the different lists that I have. Messages, there's two different kinds of messages. There are follow-up messages. All right, so let's say I have a box out there that says, hey, take our, like on our Pay It Forward Facebook, take the free assessment. So what the letter that comes to them, the free assessment that comes to them in an email, is actually a follow-up. And the follow-up we can set the timing for. So we can say, hey, I want this message to go out as soon as they opt into that box. And then I can create another one that says, you know what, in a day after that, I want them to get this. Or because some of them where I offer a workout video, I might want to, do it, the same day if I can, or whatever, depending on the system that you're using, and how you can set that up. As far as going, hey, how did your workout go? Blah blah blah. Thanks for coming to my site. The whole 9 yards. So what I can do is that allows me to set up a system, and that allows me to set up a system that will work ongoing. So once I have the system going, and I can set this up like for the personal training opportunity where I'm given the 5-day internet boot camp, which is available to all of you to offer. That's going to be set up in the system. It's going to be, follow-up messages. They're going to get first day, they're going to get day 1. The day after that, they're going to get day 2. Day after that, they're going to get day 3. So all I got to do is build this stuff, put it into the system, set up the timing, and it's done. I can go to the Bahamas or Aruba or whatever, and I can be sitting there and it's generating its own thing. Of course, that is as long as I'm doing everything right with the other stuff, and we saw tonight that I certainly don't all the time. For anybody that's watching this video that is not the same night as the webinar, then it's a follow-up to a webinar that I had about making mistakes, and what we can do better, what I can do better in order to not just generate traffic, but to convert that into leads, because lead generation is what we want. We want to be able to do stuff with those leads. We want to be able to talk to them, and that's what this is all about. This is the subscribers. For any list that you have, then you can look at what's going on. You can block people if they come in there. You can add people to your list All right, so I can take all of my clients that Beachbody's given to me and I can actually put them into a list. Now I would want to start with a message that says, hey, I'm your coach. This is what I have to offer. You know, I'm sending you my newsletter. I'm sending you this, that, and the other thing. But if you decide that you don't want this, and this is the difference between communication and spamming, okay, is we have an opt-out. This system has a built-in opt-out. You'll notice on the broadcasts that I send to you that at the bottom there's a way out. You don't have to get them anymore. Just click it and you'll never get it again. And then, you know, I'll see it. I'll see that you've unsubscribed. I have no personal attachment to that. If somebody wants to unsubscribe to my list, then I want them to be able to. I want them to have that flexibility, and that's that kind of that softness of that funnel that I was talking about in the one video, is that, you know, we don't want to shove people down our marketing funnel. We want them to jump in freely, and we want them to enjoy the ride. But if they're not, and if it's something that's really not for them, then we would rather them be able to opt out, and certainly, you know, would rather them opt out than report us for spam. And then there's the web forms tab. This is where you make your forms, and I got different forms on one of the coaches tab. This is my coaches list, so I have some forms out there to try to generate coaching leads. And then I can get reports, reports that tell me different things about what I got going on out there. And again, it looks all confusing and stuff, but this is just, you know, how many people open something. I can tell when people, number one, I can tell that they opened the message. So when you guys get my messages, and I can tell exactly who opened them, but that's kind of fun. But I can also tell if you clicked on the link. So I can send things through. And let's say I have a marketing campaign going on, and it's like, oh, you know what? I send out that first letter in this marketing campaign, and people seem to open it, but then they're not clicking on the links. Maybe I need to change that letter a little bit and try to word it maybe a little bit differently that might, you know, get it going. And we can reset our stats, and we can look at it again and see if it changed and if it helped anything. So this is a really good, I mean, this is like a good strategy center in here. It's a good way to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in your business. If we just have websites and blogs sitting out there, yeah, we can use tools to see how much traffic comes through our blog. We can use tools to see where the people came from that came to our blog. We can, you know, use tools to, I mean, it's pretty good tools out there we have for the blogs. But this one really specifically has to do with, you know, what's the activity of your leads? You know, how are they responding to what we're putting out there? So that's just kind of a very brief overview of what Aweber or an email marketing system has to offer you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a new list, which is right up here in the green, and then we're going to make one for Cheryl. So we're going to put Cheryl Tumblr. All right, and this is going to be Cheryl's Tumblr contacts. All right, and then Strasbourg. This is where I don't want to. Anyhow, here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip some of this setup stuff because I don't want to put somebody's information out there. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up all of the stuff about it. You know, what's the company name, what website, you know, what's your website, if there's a logo URL, and we can teach you about this stuff. Really, all you do is you go to your website logo. If you have one, you right-click it, and you look for the, you know, the information, and you can get the URL from there, or you can host the URL somewhere. Email signature, you can set that up. You can link it to your social media, which I do for some of my lists. So we do that. Once you do that, you want to come over here. This is the confirmed opt-in, and here's the drill. Is sometimes, like I turned it off, I think, whenever I put it out to you guys, because we were just shifting how I was communicating with you. So really didn't have to add the extra step of confirming the opt-in. But whenever we're generating leads out there from these boxes and whatnot, you know what, we want to make sure that, well, number one, that somebody's not just putting somebody else's information in there and getting it sent to them. I guess that would be a cruel joke, wouldn't it? But, or that they really intended or want to do what they're doing. So they'll get another message that says, hey, you know, if you check your email box in order to get the newsletters or whatever it is, and they're going to have to click a link in order to make sure that they're fully opted in to getting your information. So that's just a confirmed opt-in that can be turned off, but you know, they warn you against it, and it just increases your potential to be a spammer. Sometimes I do turn it off, don't get me wrong. I make that decision for myself as far as what I want to do. So we're just going to jump over here. We're going to create a web form for Cheryl's blog, and we're going to, oh gosh, we're going to do the one with the, there's all different kinds of stuff in here. Let's see what we got under blog. They got, you know, just look through. There's all these different, like, you know, pictures of things. You guys saw this one on the webinar tonight, if you were on the webinar tonight. You know, just different stuff. A little newspaper on there. You know, funky little things that you can use. We were going to use the fall theme. I can find the fall theme. So, recreation. Alright, so anyhow, we're just going to use a generic and forget about it. So, let's do one with a little RSS. That's not about subscribing. Oh, we used the one that we used tonight. Alright, close the template. And again, I might just change this whenever I'm done with this video. So anyhow, you load the template in once you pick it, and then you can click on like the header, and this is where you type in the thing. So this is like where you would say, no. Once I thought I wasn't going to be able to walk, now I'm hopping around. And then you can go, you know, I don't know, find out more, whatever. You can do something like that. You can change the font. You know, you can, a lot of times I like to bold out and center that part, and then this one maybe I'll make, you know, I'll center it, but maybe I'll make it smaller than what the header is. So I'll take that one and make it bigger. Here we go, like a 16. What was 16? Yeah, let's go with an 18. Alright, so let's just say okay to that. And again, I'll switch it up. And then you can take this little thing here, and you can, if you don't like the way it looks, you can, you know, widen it out or whatever. And depending on where you're using it, now where we're going to use the one on Cheryl's blog, it's kind of narrow, so I wouldn't get away with this. So again, I'm just showing you how this works. You can, even the submit button, like a lot of times they say, oh, don't use the term submit. You can, you know, like instant access is one that you see a lot, or, you know, download now. You know, stuff like that is what you see. So on hers would be instant access. You know, and again, I'll probably end up changing this. You know, you can cut the header off if you want. You don't even have to have the header on there. I'll show you how that is. Boom, you can just shorten it up and just have a little box. And sometimes when it's under a video or something, I just do that. Whatever. I like leaving this part on that says we respect your email privacy. I want people to know that they're going into a safe system. Powered by Aweber. You know what? I leave it on there because I'm an affiliate marketer for Aweber. But we can knock it off if, depending on how big we want the box to be. And then we can even add a footer. You know, we can say something down here, you know, whatever we'd want to say. So, you know, again, there's options as to what you want to do. You can make your box big, little, whatnot. And then you want to set up your settings for your box. So, you know, we can just put Tumblr for her form name. Thank you page, there's a couple options. There's an audio version, which we can preview.
In a a moment, you will receive an email message asking you to confirm your email address and activate your subscription. Please check your email inbox now.
Okay.
Open that email and click on the confirm link. Once you do,
all right, so then that's what they would get. There's a talking one that they can get. You can do a video version. You can use a page in your website as the thank you page. So there's options here, or you can just use the basic version, which is the little, thank you email that goes out, or just a little page that will go show just like the other one did. And then the already subscribed. The basic version is just basically if they already put their name and their email address in, and this keeps you from duplicating people, keeps them from opting in over and over again just to see the video or whatever it is. They'll get a thing that says, oh, it looks like you've already subscribed to this list or whatever. And then, okay, we have to save the web form technically, even though we're not done. And then we can publish it. So it says, I will install my form, which you can just use this little JavaScript if you want to use that to keep it short. And the one thing about the JavaScript is that if you use this version and you put it on your blog or your website, if you come in here and change your opt-in box, like you widen it out or you make it narrow and you save it, it's linked over to your site, so you don't have to go over and change it over there. A lot of times I use the raw HTML, just in case I want to change things manually. And again, that's just a preference kind of thing. The JavaScript is just fine. You can have Aweber host the form on the internet, and it gives you a link where they just have it on a floating page out there somewhere. Or if you have a web designer, then you can just email it right from here to your web designer. So in a nutshell, that is it, and I can show you payitforwardcoaching.net, how we have some of those. And what did I do? You always make a mistake when you're recording a video, so note to self. And okay, so here you'll see one on the right hand side, which is take our free online assessment and get a free workout. So whenever they put their name and their email on there, oops, and you'll see that I have a video going over there. But anyhow, name and email address in there.
Hi, and welcome to Pay It Forward Coaching Personal Trainer Opportunity Meeting. And my name is Denise Ice, and I just wanted to take a moment to say hello
Anything that can go
before we
wrong
get
will go
started
wrong
here.
while you
So
are
give everybody
recording a video. So anyhow, that was an opt-in box. So part of that automatic system is, number one, they get an email that says thank you, blah, 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 and it's got the attachment for the assessment, but then also that thank you page, or the page that they go to after they opt in, is where the video is. So the video just automatically is on a page and will play for them. So, all right, that's it in a nutshell. Have a wonderful evening, and love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.